Chapter 6. Prayer. Kitab Salat. Detailed injunctions about Ramadan. Chapter 469. Regarding standing in voluntary night prayer during the month of Ramadan. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Messenger of Allah used to command prayer at night during Ramadan, but did not command it as duty. He would say, if anyone prays during the night in Ramadan because of faith and seeking his reward from Allah, his previous sins will be forgiven for him. When the Messenger of Allah died, this was the practice, and it continued thus during Abu Bakr's caliphate and early part of Umar's. Abu Dawud said, this tradition has been transmitted by Ukail, Yunus and Abu Uwais in like manner. The version of Ukail goes, he who fasts during Ramadan and prays during the night. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet, as saying, if anyone fasts during Ramadan because of faith and in order to seek his reward from Allah, his previous sins will be forgiven to him. If anyone prays in the night of the power, Tailat al-Qadr, because of faith and in order to seek his reward from Allah, his previous sins will be forgiven for him. Abu Dawud said, this tradition has been transmitted in a similar manner by Yahya bi Abi Kathir and Muhammad bi Amr from Abu Salama, great Sahih. Narrated Aisha, wife of Prophet. That the Prophet once offered Tarafi prayer in the mosque, and the people also prayed along with him. He then prayed on the following night, and the people gathered in large numbers. They gathered on the third night too, but the Messenger of Allah did not come out to them. When the morning came, he said, I witnessed what you did, and nothing prevented me from coming out to you except that I feared that this prayer might be prescribed to you. That was in Ramadan. Great Sahih. Narrated Aisha. The people used to pray Taraweeh prayer in the mosque during Ramadan severally. The Messenger of Allah commanded me to spread a mat. I spread a mat for him, and he prayed upon it. The narrator then transmitted the same story. The Prophet said, O people, praise be to Allah, I did not pass my night carelessly, nor did your position remain hidden from me. Great Hassan Sahih. Narrated Abu Dar. We fasted with the Messenger of Allah during Ramadan, but he did not make us get up at night for prayer at any time during the month till 7 nights remained. Then he made us get up for prayer till a third of the night had passed. When the 6th remaining night came, he did not make us get up for prayer. When the 5th remaining night came, he made us stand in prayer till half of the night had gone. So I said, Messenger of Allah, I wish you had led us in supererogatory prayers during the whole of the night. He said, when a man prays with an imam till he is reckoned as having spent a whole night in prayer. On the 4th remaining night, he did not make us get up. When the third remaining night came, he gathered his family, his wives, and the people and prayed with us till we were afraid we should miss the Falah, success. I said, "What is Falah?" He said, "The meal before daybreak." Then he did not make us get up for prayer during the remainder of the month. Great Sahih. Narrated Aisha. When the last 10 days of Ramadan came, the Prophet kept vigil and prayed during the whole night, and tied the wrapper tightly, and awakened his family to pray during the night. Abu Dawud said, "The name of Abu Yafur is Abd al-Rahman bi Ubaid bi Nistas." Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The messenger of Allah came out and saw that the people were praying during the night of Ramadan in the corner of the mosque. He asked, "Who are these people?" It was said to him that those were people who had not learnt Quran. But Ubay bin Ka'b is praying, and they would pray behind him. The Prophet said they did right, and it is good what they did. Abu Dawud said, "This tradition is not strong. The narrator Muslim bin Khalid is weak." Great Da'if. Chapter 470. Concerning Laylat al-Qadr, the night of decree. The night of decree. Sir bin Hubays said, "I said to Ubay bin Ka'b, tell me about Laylat al-Qadr, O Abu al-Mundhir, for our companion." Ibn Masud was questioned about it, and he said, "Anyone who gets up for prayer every night, all the year round, will hit upon it." "Yeah, Laylat al-Qadr." He replied, "May Allah have mercy on Abu Abd al-Rahman. By Allah, he knew that it was in Ramadan." Musaddad's version goes, "But he disliked that the people should content themselves with that night alone." Or he liked that the people should not content themselves with the night alone. According to the agreed version, by Allah, it is the 27th night of Ramadan without any reservation. I said, "How did you know that?" Abu al-Mundhir, he replied, "By the indication or sign of which the Messenger of Allah informed us." I asked Sir, "What is the sign?" He replied, "The sun rises like a vessel of water in the morning following that night. It has no race until it rises high up." Great Hassan Sahih. Narrated Abdullah ibn Unais. I was present at the gathering of Banu Salama, and I was the youngest of them. They, the people, said, "Who will ask the Messenger of Allah for us about Laylat al-Qadr?" That was the 21st of Ramadan. I went out and said the sunset prayer along with the Messenger of Allah. I then stood at the door of his house. He passed by me and said, "Come in." I entered the house and dinner was brought for him. I was prevented from taking food, as it was scanty. When he finished his dinner, he said to me, "Give me my shoes." He then stood up, and I also stood up with him. He said, "Perhaps you have some business with me." I said, "Yes. Some people of Banu Salama have sent me to you to ask you about Laylat al-Qadr." He asked, "Which night? Is it tonight?" I said, 22nd. He said, "This is the very night." He then withdrew and said, "or the following night," referring to the 23rd night. Great Hassan Sahih. Narrated Abdullah ibn Unais al-Juhani. I said to the Messenger of Allah, I have a place in the desert where I live and in which I pray with the praise of Allah, but give me command about the night when I came to this mosque. He replied, come on the 23rd night. I, a sub-narrator, Muhammad ibn Ibrahim, said to his Abdullah ibn Unais' son, how would your father act? He replied, he used to enter the mosque when he had offered the afternoon prayer and did not leave it for any purpose till he prayed the morning prayer. Then, when he had prayed the morning prayer, he found his riding beast at the door of the mosque, mounted it and got back to his desert. Great Hassan Sahih. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet as saying, seek Laylat al-Qadr in the last 10 nights of Ramadan when 9 nights remain, on the 21st, when 7 nights remain, on the 23rd, and when 5 nights remain, on the 25th. Great Sahih. Chapter 471. Regarding whoever said that it is the 21st night. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Messenger of Allah used to spend the middle 10 days of Ramadan in retirement and devotion, i'tikaf, in the mosque. 1 year he had retirement and devotion in the mosque as usual. When the 21st night came, and this night when he used to come out his devotion in the mosque, he said, he who has engaged himself in devotion along with me should do so during the last 10 days. I saw that night that was caused to forget it, but I have seen myself prostrating in water and mud on the morning following that night. So seek it in the last 10 days, and seek it every night with an odd number. Abu Sa'id said, rain fell that night. The mosque that was thatched building dripped, and my eyes saw the Messenger of Allah with the traces of water and mud on his forehead on the morning following the 21st night. Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet said, seek it Laylat al-Qadr in the last 10 days of Ramadan. Seek it on the 9th, 7th and 5th night. I, Abu Nadra, said, you know counting better than us. Abu Sa'id, he said, yes. I asked, what do you mean by the 9th, 7th and 5th night? He said, when the 21st night passes, the night which follows it is the night. When the 23rd night passes, the night which follows it is the 7th. When the 25th passes, the night which follows it is the 5th. Abu Dawud said, I do not know whether anything remained hidden for me or not. Great Sahih. Chapter 472. Whoever said it was the 17th night. Narrated Abdullah ibn Masud. The Messenger of Allah said to us, seek it Laylat al-Qadr on the 17th night of Ramadan, and on the 21st night, and on the 23rd night. He then kept silence. Great Da'if. Chapter 473. Whoever said it was among the last 7 nights. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Messenger of Allah, as saying, seek Laylat al-Qadr in the last 7 days. Great Sahih. Chapter 474. Whoever said it was the 27th night. Narrated Muawiyah bi Abi Sufyan, the Prophet, as saying, Laylat al-Qadr is the 27th night of Ramadan. Great Sahih. Chapter 475. Whoever said it was throughout Ramadan. Narrated Abd Allah bin Amr, the Messenger of Allah was asked about Laylat al-Qadr, and I was hearing, he said, it is during the whole of Ramadan. Abu Dawud said, Sufyan and Shuba narrated this tradition from Abu Ishaq as a statement of Ibn Umar himself. They did not transmit it as a saying of the Prophet. Chapter 476. In how many days should the Quran be recited? Narrated Abd Allah bi Amr, the Prophet, as saying to him, complete the recitation of the Quran in 1 month. He said, I have more strength. He, the Prophet, said, complete the recitation in 20 days. He again said, I have more energy. He said, recite in 15 days. He again said, I have more energy. He said, recite in 10 days. He again said, I have more energy. He said, recite in 7 days. Do not add to it. Abu Dawud said, the tradition narrated by Muslim is more perfect. Great Sahih. Narrated Abd Allah bi Amr, the Messenger of Allah, said to me, keep fast for 3 days or of month, and finish the recitation of the Quran in 1 month. I and he differed among ourselves on period of time. He said, fast 1 day and gave it up other day. The narrator Atta said, the people differed from my father in narrating the period of time. Some narrated 7 days and others 5. Great Sahih. Narrated Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Yazid ibn Abdullah said that Abdullah ibn Amr asked the Prophet, in how many days should I complete the recitation of the whole Quran, Messenger of Allah? He replied, in 1 month. He said, I am more energetic to complete it in a period less than this. He kept on repeating these words and lessening the period until he said, complete its recitation in 7 days. He again said, I am more energetic to complete it in a period less than this. The Prophet said, he who finishes the recitation of the Quran in less than 3 days does not understand it. Great Sahih. Kaitama reported that Abd Allah bi Amr said, the Messenger of Allah said to me, recite the Quran in 1 month. I said, I have more energy. He said, recite it in 3 days. Abu Ali said, I heard Abu Dawud say, I heard Ahmad bi Hanbal say, the narrator Isa bi Shadan is a sane person. Great Hassan Sahih. Chapter 477. On fixing apart from the Quran for daily recitation. Ibn al-Had said, Nafi bi Jubair asked me, in how many days do you recite the Quran? I said, I have not fixed any part from it for daily rand. Nafi said to me, do not say I do not fix any part of it for daily rand. For the Messenger of Allah said, I recited a part of the Quran. The narrator Ibn al-Had said, I think I have transmitted this tradition from Al-Mughira bi Shuba. Great Sahih. Narrated Avs ibn Hudayfa. We came upon the Messenger of Allah in a deputation of Taqif. The signatories of the pact came to al-Mughira ibn Shuba as his guests. The Messenger of Allah made Banu Malik stay in a tent of his. Musaddad's version says, he was in the deputation of Taqif which came to the Messenger of Allah. He used to visit and have a talk with us every day after the night prayer. The version of Abu Sa'id says, he remained standing for such a long time, talking to us, that he put his weight sometimes on one leg and sometimes on the other due to his long stay. He mostly told us how his people, the Quraysh, behaved with him. He would say, we were not equal, we were weak and degraded at Mecca, according to Musaddad's version. When we came over to Medina, the fighting began between us. Sometimes we overcome them, and at other times they overcome us. One night he came late and did not come at the time he used to come. We asked him, you came late tonight. He said, I could not recite the fixed part of the Quran that I used to recite every day. I disliked to come till I had completed it. Avs said, I asked the companions of the Messenger of Allah, how do you divide the Quran for daily recitation? They said, 3 surahs, 5 surahs, 11 surahs, 13 surahs, Mufassal surahs. Abu Dawud said, the version of Abu Sa'id is complete. Great Daif. Narrated Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Alas. The Prophet said, he who recites the Quran in a period less than 3 days does not understand it. Great Sahih. Narrated Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Wab ibn Munabi said, Abdullah ibn Amr asked the Prophet in how many days should one complete the recitation of the Quran. He said in 40 days. He then said in 1 month. He again said in 20 days. He then said in 15 days. He then said in 10 days. Finally he said in 7 days. Narrated Ibn Masud. Al-Qama and Al-Aswad said, a man came to Ibn Masud. He said, I recite the Mufassal surahs in 1 rak'ah. You might recite it quickly as one recites verse poetry quickly, or as the dried dates fall down from the tree. But the Prophet used to recite 2 equal surahs in 1 rak'ah. He would recite, for instance, surahs An-Najm 53 and Ar-Rahman 55 in 1 rak'ah, surahs Iqtarabat 54 and Al-Haqqa 69 in 1 rak'ah, surahs At-Tur 52 and Ad-Dariyat 51 in 1 rak'ah, surahs Al-Waqiyah 56 and Nun 68 in 1 rak'ah, surahs Al-Ma'arij 70 and An-Nasiyat 79 in 1 rak'ah, surahs Al-Mutafifin 83 and Abasa 80 in 1 rak'ah, surahs Al-Mudatir 74 and Al-Musamil 73 in 1 rak'ah, surahs Al-Insan 76 and Al-Qiyamah 75 in 1 rak'ah, surahs An-Naba 78 and Al-Mursalat 77 in 1 rak'ah, and surahs Ad-Dukan 44 and At-Takwir 81 in 1 rak'ah. Abu Dawud said, this is the arrangement of Ibn Masud himself. Abd al-Rahman B. Yazid said, I asked Abu Masud while he was making circumambulation of the Kaaba about the recitation of some verses from the Quran. He said, the Messenger of Allah said, if anyone recited 2 verses from the last of Surah Al-Baqarah at night, they will be sufficient for him. Great Sahih. Narrated Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. The Prophet said, if anyone prays at night reciting regularly 10 verses, he will not be recorded among the negligent. If anyone prays at night and recites 100 verses, he will be recorded among those who are obedient to Allah. And if anyone prays at night reciting 1000 verses, he will be recorded among those who receive huge rewards. Abu Dawud said, the name of Ibn Hujayra al-Asgar is Abd Allah bi Abd al-Rahman bi Hujayra. Great Sahih. Narrated Abdullah ibn Amr. A man came to the Messenger of Allah and said, teach me to read the Quran. Messenger of Allah. He said, read 3 surahs which begin with A-L-R. He said, my age is advanced, my mind has become dull, yet memory has grown weak, and my tongue has grown heavy. So he said, then read 3 surahs which begin with H-M. He repeated the same words. So he said, read 3 surahs which begin with the glorification of Allah. But he repeated the same excuse. The man then said, teach me a comprehensive surah. Messenger of Allah. The Prophet taught him Surah 99. When the earth is shaken with her earthquake. When he finished it, the man said, by him who sent you with truth, I shall never add anything to it. Then man then went away. The Prophet said twice, the man received salvation. Great Daif. Chapter 478. On the number of verses in a surah. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, a surah of the Quran containing 30 verses will intercede its reader till he will be forgiven. That is, blessed is he in whose hand is the serenity. Surah 67. Great Hassan.